So we're going to be filming a tutorial, and our friend Lee, felting farmer lady Lee, out in Texas, also filmed a tutorial because she taught me how to make nests, and we're going to mash them up. So you're going to get two people talking to you today. The nests are a really fun project because you get to find some natural elements from outside, use up blocks, and there's a lot of possibilities. So and they're quick. So I like those kinds of things because you can just have a lot of fun and keep making them. And they work really well as they look nice in the tree or just as a decoration. They're fun to pair up with the sleepy animals, like we got our little mouse over here. I'll show you guys close up when we go over the shoulder. Sleepy squirrels, we got sleepy bunnies coming up soon. The songbird tutorial is a good match for the nests. Anything that's close to like a life-sized critter works really well. And burrows I'm kind of defining as, I've got a couple here, but like a deeper, there's some materials that we're going to use that lend themselves to like a deeper burrow, basically, right? For chipmunks burrow. Did you know that?
Yeah, I have kind of a problem with all of this.
Why?
It's just very tempting.
Yeah. Lots of tiny little critters around you.
Yes. In
terms of materials, what I found works really well for the nests is the chunky core. So we've got it in a variety of colors, but the off-white chunky core or the gray chunky core is the perfect thickness and consistency just to fold a nice nest, which Lee is going to show you. Actually, Lee shows you with the batting. So that's the other thing, is the brown, I think this is on the website as brown batting. It's in the 2D felting section of the website. And this is a great, just beautiful natural color. Kind of any direction you want to go with color, it looks good with it. And it is already in batting form, so it's real easy just to fold up to make your nest or burrow. Then we also have, I'm sorry Milo, I keep reaching over you. We also have the natural pre-felt, and there's a couple different kinds of pre-felt on the website. There's the Rambouillet pre-felt, which is a little softer, shorter fibers. There's a Merino pre-felt, which is way too thin. But this is on the website as natural pre-felt. It's generally it's Icelandic, and Icelandic is fun because it felts really well, but it also has longer fibers, so you get this really nice fuzzy effect, and that is great for making the burrows, because when you fold this around, you already have all that kind of fabric-like structure to it, and you can make a nice deep or big burrow if you were making something that needed a bigger space. We also have, specifically for the nests, bags of, they're 3-ounce bags. Most of our locks are in 2-ounce bags, but we wanted you to have plenty of variety. And this is on the specialty fibers page, and it's called Nest. I think they're called just Nest locks, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and there will be natural colored locks and dyed locks in these bags. And they are generally a little fuzzier than what we would set aside for candy curls or to sell individual fleeces. Sometimes fleeces come in with a little less lock structure, and it's perfect for making nests because you need a little bit of that fuzz for felting. So these are really fun, and it's all beautiful, like natural colors. Marcia's so good at dyeing now, so she always makes this array of beautiful colors. Moose moss is fun too. This is a 2-ounce bag. It's tiny baby BFL locks, lamb locks, and so you get this nice tiny little curl, and they're dyed this light green kind of lichen algae color, not algae, lichen, and they are a great little detail on the nests. You're going to want to think about incorporating feathers. I collect feathers. When I see them, I pick them up. Feathers are fun. Little grapevine, grasses, yarn that you might have around. There's just tons of things that birds would, and other critters would just pick up and carry and help to build their nests. So have fun with that, because that to me is the fun part. When we go over the shoulder, I'm going to show a burrow. Lee did more of her more shallow kind of dish-shaped nest, and I'll give a close-up on some of these things that Lee has. I have some of Lee's here and mine as well to show you how the little pieces are incorporated. I think I covered everything, Milo, and we can get started making something.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hi, welcome to my shop. I'm the Felting Farmer Lady. My gnomes and I are here to welcome you on this cold winter day in Texas, but we have a beautiful blue sky, so it makes us hope for spring. And spring will be here soon enough. And so today I'm joining in with Sarah, and we're going to make a nest tutorial so you can make nests using up lots of your scrap wool, your leftover locks, and all sorts of other fun adornments like feathers and twigs. It's going to be fun, so I'm looking forward to it. Before we get started making our nest, I just want to show you this beautiful nest that we found in one of our nesting boxes here at the farm. Just gorgeous. Look at the construction. Wow. It has core wool in it, feathers from chickens and guinea fowl, row cover from the garden, little green lock from the shop. Just magnificent. Grass and sticks. Just the softest little place to raise baby birds. Hopefully we can make something equally as amazing. All right, let's get started. This is kind of what our end product may or may not look like. This is one of my nests that I've made recently. And it has also chicken feathers, locks, and eggs. Okay, let's see what we can do. Let's do one with core roving first. And you want to take a chunk. It depends on how wide your roving is. This one's really wide. But I'm going to take a good 7 to 8 inches, 7 to 8 inch piece. So 7's going to be from tip to the beginning of the dowel section of the Zuli tool. So somewhere in there I'm going to pull it apart. Alright. And you want it another 6 to 7 inches wide. So if you have narrower core roving, then lay out several chunks. We're going to go ahead and do a double taco. So make a nice little line. We're going to fold up. Stab a little with our punch tool just to get some of the fluff down. And then depending on how deep you want your nest is how far you're going to put the second half of your taco, the double part of your taco. So I'm going to make mine about an inch, inch and a quarter, somewhere in there. Another line. Fold over and secure it down. Give it a good going over with your punch tool now. And just tighten up the top inch, inch and a quarter, because you want the fringe to still be poofy, because we're going to use this as the bottom of our nest. Let's get the other side. Leaving a little bit of fringe on either side so we can connect this into a donut shape. I'm going to use the smaller stab web for my spacing and to help me with needle felting this donut I'm going to place it kind of in the middle and wrap one end around, and then the other will need to come meet. And if they don't, see I have a lack of fringe here, I can stretch my piece and then make it fit. Overlap a little bit and secure. There we go. Once that's secure, and I'm going to pull this down a little bit because I want a fairly narrow rimmed nest here. There we go. I'm going to take my fringe and fold it into the middle. Now I can add more if I've got some holes or some weak spots, but just go ahead and get this down for now. Can even use our punch tool here. Okay, let's peel it off before we get it too stuck. And you can already see, beautiful nest. All right, I'm going to secure it down more and get rid of these, my little fold lines. Which isn't too important because I'm going to cover this one with locks, so this fold line isn't too important, but I do want it so it won't come apart. Feel around to see how thin or thick, find your thin spots. I've got one right here, I can feel it, you can't really see it. So I'm just going to take a little bit of core wool and maybe crisscross it a little bit and lay it on the inside. That'll make sure I don't have any thin spots. Okay. I think it needs a little bit more felting from the outside. Okay, it's a beautiful little bowl. So get your locks, you pick whatever you want. I'm gonna start with some of these natural gray colored border luster locks. And I like to start from the inside out. The inside of the nest, that is. There we go. And get an initial layer going. So firmly attach them to the bottom, and then I fold them out and around. Let's put it back onto our little stab, excuse me, and fold these out one by one. Go all the way around. If you have shorter, tinier locks, then you'll just need more. I'll go grab a few in a sec and I'll show you what I mean. There we go. And then you sit it down, take a look at it. Let me run go get some, but my head's right in there. Let me go get some short locks real quick. These are some of my favorite. I think these are little tiny BFL Blueface Leicester locks. Some of my favorite to use for nests. I guess they're kind of wee and tiny. So then I might add some of these. And you can see I'm not being careful with placement at all. I'm going to wrap these to come around to the bottom. Okay. Some of these little guys just add a nice effect. It's already looking soft and cozy. Okay, how about some of these guys? This one I might attach on the bottom. And have coming up kind of around here. Notice how I'm constantly reshaping the bowl. I think I want these to go down a little bit further to create a better bottom shape to the bowl. Okay. Let's see, let's add some moss. Let's see. So they can go from the top down. Yeah, and then I might double back with the locks. Let me get them attached this direction. Actually, I probably should have had 3 needles in my pen tool. That might have made the work a little bit quicker. And it might fold some of these back up. So you get the idea. So decorate away Add as many locks or as few locks as you want. This little guy was a stray. I can't not leave him. Can't leave him on the counter all by himself. Poor little wee and tiny lock. All right. Okay, let's add some feathers and maybe a tendril or two from the grapevines. Let's see, here's the grapevine. Where's the other one? Here it is. Okay, I found two different ways to attach these guys. One is to take some very pointy little scissors, and well, first you need to decide where you'd like your stick and or tendril, and then snip yourself a hole. Slide your stick in. You have to wiggle it. There we go. And then I usually, and sometimes it's fun to go ahead and if you have a longer stick, to snip all the way through so you have a stick coming all the way through your nest. Almost like it's attached still to part of the tree. Okay, here we're going to need our little stab. And you want to be very careful to needle felt on either side of that stick. If you want to, you can put a dab of glue on it before you insert it, or a tiny dab here on the edges, but usually you don't need to. If you need a little extra security, pull off a little tiny lock. And I'm going to attach the lock here. I'm going to make a staple. So I'm going to attach part of the lock below the stick, go above this little Y in the stick, maybe wrap it around twice, and then needle felt again. That gives it a little extra security. You're just making a little staple. You can also just take a little piece of core wool and make a direct. If you have a tiny piece that you really don't have room to stick into a hole and you want it laying just on top, you can do the same thing and just create a staple. Now, of course, I did this over my pretty locks, so I might have to add some more. So, cutting holes, sliding your stick through, and or stapling, or a combination of the both is a good way to get your sticks on. This is that looks better. Okay. Feathers are the same way. Let's see what we got here. Whoa. That's a pretty one. And this one, I'm going to do a little snip hole right here and carefully put the quill in, and then needle felt around. And usually the wool, if you put your feather in far enough, will grab a hold of some of the little hairs on the feather and get pushed down in and secure your feather just like that. There. So I got a skewer of some sort and a little bit of off-white chunky core. You can go crazy with eggs, and you can any color you want, any pattern. Core is a great base for the egg though, since they're so tiny. So mainly this is about a 3-inch, well now I'm stretching it, 4-inch, but I probably won't use it all, depends on the size. But you want it fairly narrow, because what you're going to do is just do a figure 8 on your skewer to make a fat seed, and you want to concentrate it now in the middle. There we go. Ooh, that had a little gray in it. That's going to be a funny little egg. So slide it off, and then careful not to poke your fingers, poking your ends. To whatever desired shape you want. Remember, if you need to, you can use your skewer as a safety stick. Okay, this one's way too long for me. I want to shrink it up here. Eggs aren't that oblong. Then to finish up your little egg, roll them around in your hand nice and firmly. And there you go. Put them in your nest. And I usually just attach them around the edge. So that when you're moving your nest around, you don't lose your eggs all the time. So, there you go. Have fun nest making.
I was just thinking that I wonder what, besides birds, whether I can talk or not, what other animals, or rodents specifically, burrow and nest.
Yeah, it's a good question. I googled.
You googled.
I googled.
Stuff?
I googled nests. So
Okay.
lots of rodents: woodchucks, chipmunks, squirrels, moles,
Bunnies. Squirrels. Well, squirrels do in trees.
ground squirrels,
There's ground squirrels.
moles, voles, mice, skunks, raccoons,
Wow.
muskrats.
Wow.
Lots of animals.
Lots of animals. And burrow, I guess. I don't know. I
Yes.
don't know if they make a distinction between the
That
two.
there's a lot of information here. I will sprinkle it throughout the video.
Okay. Well, the way that we're defining nest and burrow is more by the depth. So these are some sweet little ones that Lee made last year. I love this piece. Like if you can find a stick with that lichen on it, that moss on it, that is really fun. She's got several different kinds of twigs in here. And she made some little, does Lee show this in her video, the little eggs?
Yes.
Good. And she made a tiny little mouse. This one has an egg and some little locks and lots of grapevine. I made this one and I just wanted it to be really fuzzy. This is like a little lamb lock. And this is a Lee one, the piece of grass in it. And some sort of feather fluff, which is fun.
Zoom a little bit because I'm
Okay.
getting the top of your head.
Oh. Nobody wants to see the top of my head in any way.
Oh, there we go.
You good now? This one has some sparkle in it, which
Ooh.
may or may not be on purpose. Around here, you don't know. Stuff ends up in things. Here's a bigger nest. Mine always end up big. Lee's good at keeping them small. I made this one. And I like these feathers. These are guinea hen feathers, and they're so graphic. They're really cool. This one I put a little piece of yarn in, which is like this. That's a good size for the little sleepy bunny. Matches the feather. So these are more what I'm sort of calling burrows, and they just go deeper. They're more like a pocket. And I'm decorating them almost like you would a hat, like kind of asymmetrically, you know, one side. But you can do whatever you want. But this just kind of suits my, I don't know, aesthetic when I think about how I want to decorate these. And the little sleepy mice can go in there.
This one's kind of in between. It's a deep nest, but it's got locks on the whole thing and some feathers. And I have some feathers here, and I'll figure out which ones I want to use, but some chicken feathers and guinea hen feathers, rooster feathers. That's a pretty one. Okay. I want to show real quick with the chunky core what a layout might look like. I think it would be about 4 inches, of course, depending on the size of nest. It would be about 4 inches by 6 inches. So 4 inches this way, 6 inches this way. And then you want a nice overlap between the two so that you don't have a kind of missing chunk. You want to fringe that out and have a nice consistent overlap. And then just like Lee did with the batting, it'll be a fold. And then you could work from that, or you could do a second fold. Of course, you would felt this and then spin it around. So you've got the double taco, which works really well. So you could do that with the off-white chunky core, which is how I started this one, or gray chunky core would be great because it's already got, some natural color to it. I'm going to make a burrow, and I'm going to work with the Icelandic, with the natural pre-felt. This is the brown or tan color. And this is pretty thick. And I want to make a nice big burrow because I want to make something that my chipmunk can sit in. Maybe put some acorns in it. And I was thinking about, sorry, I disappeared. I was thinking about sort of tucking it into this, like I kind of want it to fill this whole space in this piece of bark. So, and then he can, curl up in it and peek out of the top of the bark. So this is going to be quite a bit larger than, let's say, this one or this one that I started with the pre-felt. You'll figure out what size you want things to be. Because this is so thick, I don't need to fold it twice. It's just going to get huge. So I'm only going to fold this edge once. And I want to fringe this out so that it kind of blends away here. Milo. I'm apparently hungry for all of these.
All right, while I
critters.
felt this a little bit, tell me some more.
Oh, things to tell you.
Yeah.
So, critters build their little nests to, lots of reasons.
It's their home.
Yes, they build them to protect their little offspring from people who might be interested in eating them. I don't know anything about that.
We don't know those people.
No. And they either hide the eggs. Sometimes they build them as a little shield from the sun or the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And the really interesting thing is they either sculpt or assemble. So sculpt, they kind of dig out.
Okay.
And then assemble, they
Bring in.
Yes, go around and gather.
And some of them do both.
Yes.
That's a cool way to think about it.
And then they have things listed, what they use, plant matter, but like you said, fur, feathers.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I want to say something. I'm fringing these ends out because I don't want it to be a big chunk. Because when I bring this around to come together, I want that to all just kind of flow together as much as possible. You're still going to end up with a little bit that you're going to have to, maybe patch or fix up. But I'm keeping in mind how big I want this to be. So I'm kind of looking at my piece over here that I want it to fit into. And the first thing I want to do is just tack from the inside the meeting place together. Can you see this okay?
Yep.
Okay. And then what I'm going to do, and then Milo can tell us some more stuff while I do this.
This is a really big nest.
It's huge. I'm telling you, it's a chipmunk burrow, so it's got to be big. I'm going to use the Stabby Wabby. We got 2 new sizes of Stabbits, and it's really
useful for this kind of thing where you need some structure, some support. So since mine's big, I'm going to use the big one and put it inside. And now I can really felt this together from the outside. Just want to get it in a good spot here. Okay, go ahead. So,
Well, just I was interested in what they use besides plant material.
Right.
They use feathers,
yes,
sometimes fur, mud or dirt.
a lot of horsetail hair,
Oh.
hair. I see. When you have horses, you see it a lot.
It lists fecal matter.
Oh,
Yes, and specialized secretions from the animal's body, which I found very interesting. Hopefully, nobody out there feels the need to do that in their own nests, because that would be gross.
human hair. People can get a little crazy with their natural materials.
Might see something show up on fanfare.
Yeah. Once that's hooked pretty well, all this fluff you want to sort of bring around together as smoothly as possible. It's going to be a little lumpy in places, but I try to just kind of tease it out. And if it weren't so huge, but I kind of go from this way first, and then again, I'll put the bag in, and then I can come from the outside. But this just starts to get it to hold its position so that when you put the bag in there, it's all where it needs to be.
Huh.
Huh, what?
I have not seen you make one of these before.
One of these huge, I'm tucking those corners in so that they don't get in my way. Looks like a little Russian stab it, web it. Now I can tease this out and blend away, chunky spots, and then I'm just using a pen tool with 2 needles in it. It's my weapon of choice.
So different animals' nests are called different things.
Okay.
Had no idea about that.
Tell me about it.
Well, a beaver's nest is called a lodge.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what a rabbit's nest is called?
A den.
No.
Wait, don't tell me. I read Watership Down.
Starts with an F, if that helps.
It doesn't.
It doesn't help.
Just tell me.
It's called a form.
Oh, I would never have gotten that.
Probably
Good,
not in
'cause
Watership Down.
Sometimes your questions make me feel a little bit uneducated.
You are very animal knowledge-y. A beaver's nest is called a set, S-E-T-T.
Wait, you just said a lodge.
Oh, I'm sorry, a badger.
Badger. Okay.
They're right next to each other.
Okay.
A badger's nest is called a set. Who came up with these names?
That's the beauty of language.
A squirrel's nest is called a drey, D-R-E-Y.
Wow.
Yeah,
These
what's that?
these are words I've never.
Right. Pheasant's nest, they call it a nide.
What?
N-I-D-E.
Denied. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the eagle's nest I cannot pronounce.
That far out there, huh?
It is.
See how all those little weird folds kind of go away if you just keep teasing it out. Can I see it? Let me see if I can pronounce it.
This word, E-Y-R-I-E. I know, right? What's that?
Irie?
Irie?
I don't know.
That's because eagles are fancy.
Eagles are fancy. They deserve that special word. When you hold this up to the light, yeah, you're going to see some thin spots. And how you choose to address that could be by taking more of the same material and putting it on the outside. I used that whole piece that I had sitting out here. So the other thing you could do is put some nesting material in there and felt it from the inside. I'm not going to get super elaborate on this because I know Lee did a very thorough nest tutorial. And like I said, when I decorate these, I tend to kind of do it asymmetrically. So for this one, since it's for a chipmunk, I might put I have some acorn caps I'll put around and maybe in the bottom. And then almost just liken, these are some of the locks from that nest lock bag that we put together. They're always going to be a little bit different, but I just wanted to show you some of what the colors might be in there. So pretty. I love this deep gold against this purpley gray. It's so pretty. And then there'll be natural locks in there. This is some Icelandic. So my idea was to nestle this in here. Yeah. And then put my little dude in there. Have him say hi to you. Hi. You had some good nest information, Milo.
I did, thanks to the internet.
There's so much to learn.
It's true.
It's true. So I've just kind of quickly finished out this little burrow. I got my chipmunk in here, but there's some feather and locks on the back of it, so that was fun. I like it in that piece of bark.
It's all very appealing.
So it's going to be fun to see what you guys make, and I hope that you will share it. The best place to do that is in our Facebook group, which is called Sarafina Felting Fanfare. And we have lots of members and lots of support there. If you have any questions about materials or the website or anything, it's a good place to ask because you'll get lots of answers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't wait to see what people make.
I will be on the lookout for your tasty little critters.
Yeah, it's a good thing you're here
Yes.
where I can keep my eye on you.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Bye.